Welcome back. On August 28, 1963, civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. addressed crowds during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. In his groundbreaking speech, King called for civil and economic rights and an end to racism in the United States. Today, some are asking the question if the civil rights movement that arguably Reverend King started is now dead. Joining us now to divide into the conversation is Pastor D.Z. Cofield and Black Lives Matter Houston co-founder Ashton Woods. So when we talk about the civil rights movement, is it dead now and replaced with Black Lives Matter, or are they one in the same? Pastor Cofield, let's begin with you.
Well, I think, historically, we always see varied iterations of the civil rights movement. I don't think the civil rights movement is dead. Because racism is not dead, sexism is not dead, classism is not dead. But I think we're seeing various iterations of it. And I think it's important for people to understand that from my perspective, even the crystallization of the Black Lives Matter movement was really just that. It was a crystallization of, going back to Jesse Jackson talking about I am somebody, going back to the decision when we were deemed to be 3/5 of a man. There's always been a call to recognize that our lives matter. And so I think to see what Black Lives Matter is doing is just another iteration of what needs to be done to continue this fight going.
We also have with us Ashton Woods, who is with Black Lives Matter Houston, separate from the national entity. So, Ashton, the question to you, is the civil rights movement dead, or are we seeing it now in the form of Black Lives Matter?
The civil rights movement, when the first African was taken from Africa, and it never ended. It never will end until all Black Lives Matter. That means Black women, Black LGBT people, Black atheists, Black Christians, Black whatever. We all wear the same skin, and the first thing that folks see is this, our Blackness. And so the reality for me is that I think we conflate the Black Lives Matter movement as the end-all, be-all to what's currently going on in context with racism, whether it be structural, systemic, cultural, medical, instead of saying that there are different types of movements where all of these things intersect. Our intersectionalities, as Kimberly Williams Crenshaw would put, Kimberly Crenshaw Williams would put when it comes to intersectionality, which was intended for Black women, tends to talk about how we can be Black and a lot of folks just fall into the Black Lives Matter movement at large because we own our Blackness in our different ways. So nobody owns the title Black Lives Matter. It fits, but then at the same time, we know we're not monolithic. We know they got folk out there that ain't all the way there on that. Right, that look like us. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that I haven't been in a barbershop since I'm 38. I haven't been in a barbershop since I was in my mid-20s. And it's because of the conversations that take place that, well, I like going around my Black folk, but you also ostracizing me, even though I might not go in and might not go in and like wear my LGBT status on my forehead. I am out, but I'm not about to be out there saying, hey, y'all, look at me. I'm a homosexual. But then I have to go and hear it. And I hear other ignorant things. And I'm like, I just came here to get my head shaved and, get my beard trimmed when I have one. But I don't want to hear this. So I shave my own head and I take care of my own grooming. And I think about that in context with other issues that we may face. Teaching Black people that Black Lives Matter for Black Lives Matter Houston and for me personally is what it's all about. I don't need permission from white folk to talk about what Black Lives Matter. You're going to think about us what you're going to think about us. I could care less. But as far as me and my house and the people who look like me, I'm talking to y'all.
And stay with us. We will continue that conversation when we come back after the break. And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored. The civil rights movement ignited nationwide calls for change. Many years later, George Floyd's death ignited a resurgence in the movement we now call Black Lives Matter. Are we in a new era of activism? Black Lives Matter Houston co-founder Ashton Woods and Pastor D.Z. Cofield are here now to talk about it. Pastor, let's bring you and take a look at this, examine this situation. when we say is civil rights movement, is a civil rights movement as we know it in the past dead? We don't see many of those old school organizations like the NAACP at the forefront of the fight, or are we missing that? And what does that mean for Black society that your legacy organizations are not at the forefront anymore, at least from what we can see?
Yeah, so I think many of those legacy organizations are fighting more now for their survival than they are for the success of our people, and have mistaken form for function. So those organizations that have had the form and the function in the past now have the form without the function. The truth of the matter is, this fight has changed. It has evolved. It has morphed. And the tragedy is we have been marching when we needed to have a group who was legislating, right? We needed to have a group in the state houses and the federal houses who were passing laws. We thought that if we just got, for example, a Black police chief, that a Black police chief would change the policies in the police department. We didn't realize that this is a culture, that it's not a person, right? And that culture will literally eat a person up. And so, while Jim Crow is dead, James Crow II is alive and well. And the tragedy is our traditional civil rights organizations in many instances are boxing, and the new isms that we're facing are doing mixed martial arts. And if you put a boxer in a ring with a mixed martial artist, there's no way he's going to win, right. And so we've been losing that front. So there's been a need, but this is not, the first time historically that we've seen this. Organizations have outlived their usefulness and their viability and have become symbols of history. We just have forgotten about them, and nobody wants to say it out loud. Nobody wants to say the emperor has no clothes, but the emperor has no clothes, and so it's really forcing, I think, a generation who is asking questions that the prior generation does not want to ask because we don't like the answer. We're afraid of the answers in terms of viability, in terms of accessibility, in terms of what really needs to be done. Too many in our generation have sold out. And because they've sold out, if you dance to the music, the old song said, Isaiah, you got to pay the piper, right? Mm-hmm. And so their silence has been co-opted. It has been purchased. And there are many who are sitting on the sidelines now. They have benefited from, many of the things that are going on in our society, and good times or bad times for somebody. And so I think, to Ashton's point, I agree with him 100%. Black Lives Matter as a philosophy is bigger than the Black Lives Matter movement. It's bigger than the NAACP. It's bigger than the Urban League. It's bigger than all of those organizations. And the question is, are we willing to embrace the bigness and then take the grandness of that fight and look at the multiple ways that we need to participate in it, respecting all of us in the midst of that fight?
And Ashton, let me ask you, do you think those legacy organizations that also, many of them command the attention of the mainstream right now, should they come off the sidelines, or have they served their usefulness in the civil rights movement that is still alive, but we're looking at a different type of civil rights movement?
We're looking at how organizations and activists within those organizations, because I always tell people I'm a part of Black Lives Matter Houston. I may have founded it, but I'm also a human rights activist. That's not the gist of my work, right? As an individual. So I would say I look at the NAACP as two separate entities. You got the local chapters, local and state chapters, and you have the national organization. The NAACP nationally has been doing great work in Congress. They've been doing great work in the courts. The NAACP Legal Defense Fund has helped a few of the people that I've come out in my work with BLM Houston and in general who have been harassed by the police or have had to face attacks based on their dreadlocks while they're trying to graduate from high school, right? And so we got to look at what folks are doing